What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're doing some more r/am I the butthole. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and maybe that notification bell too, as it all truly helps out our channel. And oh my word, we've got another 2 members today. I don't even know what to say anymore. Thank you very much to Liz Electro and Tom Baker. Man, amazing. And thank you so much to the other members of our channel as well. You're blowing my mind right now. Anyway, let's get on with today's stories before I start blubbering or something. Our first story comes from Problem with My Sister. Am I the arsehole for firing my sister after seeing her blog and not rehiring her without an apology? Basically what happened is I read my sister's blog. It was sent to me by a friend of mine who was asking if one of the characters was me. Spoiler alert, it was me. It's a couple of years old and really popular. She doesn't use our family's real names, but they are real similar and use the same first letter. So think real names Katie, Julia, Marissa and Brad, and then the fake names being Kathy, June, Marnie and Bob. It's descriptive enough of our lives and what we do for work that my friend identified me from it. It's mostly about her and her life, but there is a lot about us. A year ago, I had an abortion. It was during the lowest point in my life so far, and only she and my husband knew about it. She swore to me that she would take the secret to her grave. Yeah, she dedicated a whole entry to it. A couple of months ago, she and her husband got laid off due to world events. I run my own business that wasn't really affected, and I offered her a job to help her out. She's not qualified in my field, so essentially I made up a position for her so she can have a steady paycheck. She basically does data entry and other random tasks online from her home. Her blog since then is basically centered on how much she hates it. She calls it demeaning work and says a bunch of bullshit about how I obviously don't respect her intelligence. I say this is bullshit because 1. She would need years of training to work any of the open positions. 2. I told her what she would do when I offered it and she gushed about how grateful she was that I was really helping her. I called her and told her what I had read and how hurt I was. Her defense is that the blog is her online diary where she vents and I should know not to take any of it personally. She actually had the gall to tell me that she is hurt that I read it. Apparently the right thing to do was to ignore it. I told her off for telling the internet my secrets and dragging me online where I could be and was found by people who knew me. She just said she did all her due diligence by changing the names and it wasn't her fault my friend found it. We argued for a bit and it got increasingly heated and I fired her. I told her that if she couldn't apologise or see how she was wrong here, then she wasn't who I thought she is and she could find a job where she felt more respected. It's been a week and I haven't spoken to her at all. Her husband has been contacting me on her behalf, trying to get her job back, as they need the money. He claims she is sorry, but I think if she was, then she could tell me herself. My husband is telling me I am overreacting, and that she's family and I should just forget it. I don't agree. Am I the arsehole here? Edits and /updates. After reading a lot of the response, I've become more and more sickened by this situation. I sent my sister an email detailing how much damage this is doing to me emotionally and could do to me financially and professionally. In the email I'm asking her to delete all entries in that blog that include private details about me, my business or our family. I'm giving her an ultimatum. She can do as I ask, delete the entries and I will consider it water under the bridge. We can move on with our lives and try to repair our relationship. Or she can continue to ignore me, keep her blog and consider me out of her life. We can see each other at family events and keep things civil, but I will no longer share my life with her. She won't be an aunt to my future children or a real sister to me. I'll update if and when she responds. Update 2. She replied to my email asking me to FaceTime her tomorrow. She wants to talk to me after we both have had a night to cool down. I agree with her as I'm pretty heated right now. We will update after I talk. Thank you for everyone for your support. Has really opened my eyes to the gravity of the situation. The first thing that jumped out to me is when the sister said like, oh, it's an online diary and you shouldn't be reading it. I mean, what the hell? It's on the internet. That's the whole point of it. You're letting other people read your diary. And people are clearly finding out the OP's name and about her now. So, and a comment further down from the OP says something around the lines of like, if a competitor finds out this blog and then links it back to her who owns her own business, then it could really damage her and they could maybe use that against her in some other way. So yeah, I don't consider a blog to be a diary, man. I think the sister kind of needs to own up her mistake here and remove those pieces to respect the sister's wishes. I'm not sure though, you need to let me know in the comments below and don't forget to vote in that top right hand corner. Our next story is from Awful Sister, Am I the Arsehole? Am I the arsehole for telling our family that my sister is a prostitute after she insulted my wife's disability? So, my wife is paraplegic. She was when I first met her. It's from an accident a long time ago, but she's adapted well to it. I love her and she's just as useful as someone who can walk. My sister for some reason has never liked my wife. She's always had a problem with her. Whether she claims it's attitude or something else. I've talked to my wife about it and she doesn't know why. And I've talked to my sister about it and she's never given me a straight answer on why she doesn't like her. I just accepted it until now. Not everybody likes everyone else, and until now, my sister hadn't said anything rude about it. Now, my sister was a prostitute in college, and she claims she's just camming now. She doesn't have a job, she just does that. She told me because I found out accidentally once. She made me hide it to our family, and claimed she had a job at a company near us. I was talking to my sister on the phone last week because she wanted me to fix her sink, or at least look at it, because her landlord wasn't going to do anything about it. I told her I don't know when I could because I've been remodeling one of our bathrooms, which has turned into a larger project than I really bargained for. I might just end up hiring someone to do it, honestly. My sister then, for no reason, made a comment about my wife. She said, why don't you just have her, my wife who I'd said something to, make herself useful and help, or wait, she can't because of her disability. She said this mockingly, as if being in a wheelchair isn't a disability. I had the phone on speakerphone and my wife heard. She was pretty hurt by it, and I was beyond pissed off. I yelled at her and hung up. After consoling my wife for a little bit, I decided to call my parents and tell them what my sister actually does for a job. They thanked me for telling them, and that was that. Then my sister called me again and yelled at me, saying our whole family is calling her and telling her to stop and staging an intervention for her. I told her she should have thought about that before being a bitch to my wife, and hung up. It's been a few days, and now I'm thinking I went a little nuclear on her. At the time, I felt like yelling at her wasn't enough, but now I think maybe yelling would have been enough. Am I the arsehole? Edit. I wasn't on a campsite to find out. That's what I was wondering. I went to her apartment to surprise her with a present. This is before either of us met my wife. And she was with a John. Oh god. No, this is one of them ones that I think could potentially go both ways. But don't get me wrong, the sister in this situation is an arsehole, absolutely. Because you don't mock someone for disability, something they didn't choose in their life, you know. It's absolutely sick that someone did that. But at the same time, telling the parents she was a prostitute? Yeah, that is rough. What do you guys think about the situation? Is OP the arsehole? Is the sister the arsehole? Or are they both arseholes? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote in that top right hand corner. Our next story is from Arsehole Professor. Am I the arsehole for bumping up a student an entire letter grade purely based on her character? Hello everyone, final grades are due soon, and my TA is adamant that I'm the arsehole for considering this. Background, I teach at a large public university. One of my classes this semester has 2 midterms worth 25% each, and a final worth 50%. A student contacted me after midterm 1 to tell me that her test had been incorrectly marked, as the TA had mistakenly calculated her mark to be 10 higher than it should have been. This 10% decrease on her midterm would work out to be 2.5% of her final grade. I thanked her and had her come by the TA's office just to adjust her mark. The student did excellently on both midterms, but not as well on the final. Her overall mark in the course was an 80, which is the minimum required for an A-. I plan to bump her up to an 85, which is the mark required for an A. I don't know this student well, haven't only met her once, however, I know she wants to go to medical school. My logic is that, had she not come to me, she would have automatically gotten a grade 2.5% higher. By showing integrity, she earns an extra 2.5% reward on top of that. I would also be pleased to have more like her in our medical system, and I'm happy to facilitate that. Nobody else is affected by this, as the class is not curved. My TA says it's unfair as none of the other students were given this accidental opportunity to come forwards and earn a higher grade. I'll tell you what, in my 20 plus years of teaching, this is the first student I've ever had come to me to have a grade adjusted down. I have had, on average, a quarter of the class make their way into my office hours at some point during each semester to argue for marks going up. Stands to reason that a further quarter of the class should be coming to argue for lowered marks, but this has not occurred. I think this is fair. Am I the arsehole? Edit, I will be returning the students 2.5% and awarding her additional 2.5% on top of that. The following email will be sent out to the class. Congratulations on making it through course name. I have some good news for you all. One of your peers showed an impressive integrity and professionalism during this course. I was initially planning to award the student a bonus on their overall mark, but having spent considerable time agonising over the fairness of this, after all, I'm sure many of you would display your own integrity had you been placed in a similar situation. Instead, I will be curving everyone's test up by a flat 2.5%. If this increase places you within 0.5% of the next grade boundary, your mark will be rounded up. I anticipate that we'll all have to quarantine a great deal longer due to the minority of people around us, so it's only fair you are all rewarded for the good deeds of those around you as well. You may think of this as a bonus earned through your diligence in watching my terrible pre-recorded lectures in 240p, and in putting up with my unending technical difficulties during office hours. As always, don't hesitate to reach out to me with any concerns. It's been a pleasure teaching you all this semester. Yours, Professor Name. Final edit, the email above will not be sent without pass through the chair first. I learned my lesson 15 years ago there. Take it in spirit, not in letter. Final edit, people seem perplexed by the grade boundaries. I will take this opportunity to reassure any Americans that your grading system is not the only one used worldwide. My university does not curve. We have fixed grade boundaries, and those, like many institutions in this country, are at 85 for an A. Additionally, I assure you it's significantly harder to achieve an 85 here than it is for you to achieve an 85 in a course where that equates to a B, and it amused me to see the number of comments wanting to attend my university for an alleged easy 4.0. Oh, it's another one of those where I'm just confused. I think the professor is an awesome guy in this situation, don't get me wrong. I think like he's taking back at the situation and looking at the person as a whole. And he's looking at them and think that's an awesome person, and that's the kind of person that I want to succeed in the future. I don't want them to fail because of a small mark that they haven't got. So I'm going to help them out. But at the same time, is it fair to everyone else? You know, there is that issue, and he was going to bump everyone else up because of it. But if that wasn't the case, would it be fair on everyone else? So I'm not sure on which way to look at it. I kind of like the whole wholesome aspect, and I think the person should be bumped up because he's looking at them from a character perspective. I think that's a great thing. How about you guys? What do you think in the situation? Do you think the professor is the arsehole in the situation or not? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote in that top right hand corner. Our next story is from OwnBase7. Am I the arsehole for explaining to my son that he needs to put his foot down about being in the delivery room for the birth of his child? My son and his wife are expecting their child next month, and of course my wife and I couldn't be happier about it. This weekend my son was helping me with some yard work, 6 foot apart, and we started talking about the delivery. I asked if he was nervous, and he said, I am nervous for her, but kind of relieved I'll be in the waiting room. I was dumbfounded, and he said that when he and his wife discussed it, she expressed that she would highly prefer having just her mother in the room, but that she, of course, wouldn't stop him if he felt strongly about being there instead. Since due to the virus, she can only have one person in the room with her. He insisted he was indifferent about witnessing the birth and wanted to respect his wife's preference. I explained that this is not okay, he needs to be there. He got frustrated with me and said that his wife is a private person, that she's very close to her mother, and that she says she'll be best comforted by someone who's already done it 3 times and will know how things should go. I'll admit I rolled my eyes at that. I tried to tell him that the days he and his sister were born were the best days of my life, and the memory would be nothing if I just walked into the room post-birth and got handed a fresh, clean baby. Helping my wife through the birth cemented our partnership as a couple and as parents. Being the one to cut the cord, being an equal part in the birthing process, it's so important as a dad. It's a huge part of your bond with a baby. I tried to explain that not only will it be very hard for him to bond with a baby if he doesn't witness the birth, he needs to be there to ensure his rights are protected. Apparently, they've already been arguing about her wanting to be doped up for the birth because she can't handle pain. And if it's just her mum in the room, he won't be able to ensure she doesn't overrule him with the epidural. And although it's tough to think about the worst case scenario, he needs to be the one in the room if things go wrong. If huge medical decisions need to be made and someone needs to choose if the doctors will save his wife or the baby, of course his mother-in-law will insist on saving her baby instead of his. He needs to be able to be there. After I offered to call his wife to explain the situation to her as a father who's been through it twice, we ended up getting a bit heated and he left. I've called a few times but he won't answer. My wife says she doesn't want to get involved, but that he told her he doesn't want to talk to me until I apologise. I still don't know for what. I called his wife to try and get a straight story from her about the extent to which she pressured him to cave and agree to wait outside. And she just swore at me and said, medical shit like this is what keeps us from being close. I'm honestly dumbfounded. Am I seriously the arsehole for explaining to my son how important it is to witness the birth of his child? you know, it seemed like the son was somewhat happy not witnessing the birth. And for some part, I can't blame him. I mean, it can be a traumatic time for people to see that as well. Some people don't want to see that. Some people don't want to see their wives in that situation. They don't want to see their baby, you know, in that situation either. And what I'm saying by that is that everyone's different. Not everyone is good. Not everyone wants to see the baby. And I truly don't think that it cements the relationship with the baby or your wife just because you've been through that together. I don't think so. I think that's totally wrong. And another thing this guy said about her being doped up for labor, and the husband can overrule her not doing that. Fuck no. If what women go through, if they want to be doped up, you get doped up. That's her choice. That's not the husband's choice. Jesus Christ, you don't know what she's going through, and you'll never know what she's going through ever in your life. So you have no choice in that. And then to call the daughter afterwards to say that you're going to explain the situation to her. Dude, fucking asshole. You need to step back and let them make their own decisions. You can't force this on people. But what do you guys think of the situation? I know we've got some parents in the comments, and we've got some subscribers who are parents as well. So let me know in the comments below what you think about the situation. And don't forget to vote in that top right hand corner. It's a crazy one. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's stories. And if you have, don't forget to hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it all really, really helps out our channel massively. And a huge thank you once again for the support just recently. You've been absolutely blowing my mind. And as I said today, if I don't answer the comments this evening or tomorrow, my dad's got his first chemo session. Not doing that for sympathy, but you know, a lot going on at the moment. I will be reading the comments, so make sure you post, because I need to be reading some of those tonight. I need to keep my mind elsewhere, so I'd love to be reading your comments. And just thank you once again for your support, the time out your day. I can't believe you guys watch this. You know, I sit here thinking, bloody hell, there's real people watching these videos. They must be mental like me. Thank you again, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Much love.